Clay is absolutely incredible, but a lot of people never get started because it is way too much confusing. So in this video I'm going to clear up the confusion and I'm going to show you exactly how I'm teaching Clay to thousands of people through my YouTube, my newsletter, my socials, and how I basically turn into Clay experts hundreds of people through my coaching programs, and how I actually have generated 7 figures in revenue for myself and for my own clients. I will walk you through step by step how to use Clay as a complete beginner to more intermediate level, and finally actually showing you some more advanced tactics so you can get the most out of this guide no matter your skill level, and you can start using Clay today. Let's jump into it. I really think that to actually master Clay you can divide it into 3 parts to actually think in a clearer way, which is data scraping, so how you get the data. From getting the data we will move to a more intermediate level where we actually can understand how to actually manipulate those data, scraping, AI, automation, data manipulation, lead enrichment, to a data activation part, so we will make sense of all the data that we scraped, manipulated, to actually move them into something attached to revenue, such as like a cold email or a notification that can actually activate marketing on the sales team to take action and hopefully generate revenue. Finally, we will see some more advanced tactics that are implemented in the fastest growing companies in the world. Let's go and start from scraping and list building. You have to start somewhere, and I really think you have to be very strategic in this because it's very important. Most of the times there's a place of the internet where your TAM, your total addressable market, is listed. For example, guys, let's say that you are software as a service and you are selling to restaurants. Where are restaurants listed on the web? I guess it's Google Maps. If we look for restaurants in LinkedIn, we don't get restaurants. Or if we look for restaurants in Google News, Appify, HubSpot, it's very unlikely that you will find restaurants. But at the same time, let's say that we are looking for marketing agencies, maybe LinkedIn is the best because they are B2B companies, they are highly incentivized to actually be on LinkedIn. At the same time, maybe we want to start from the CRM so we can connect HubSpot. Maybe we want to start from your website traffic. So let's go one by one and let's see the most important, the most popular enrichment tactics that you have on Clay in this first intermediate tutorial. So let's start, for example, from Google Maps. You can open Clay. As you can see, this is the main dashboard. In the upper right corner you have new, and we can create a workbook. Workbook basically is a series of tables so you can manipulate, scrape and enrich all your data project by project. Always rename it in the right way so that you don't get confused. Add table. As you can see, you can add table from wherever in the web. Just think about where is the place in the web I would take this data. In this case we said maps. As you can see, there's an enrichment called find local businesses using Google Maps. Click on that. Search type, free text, location, let's say New York. New York, United States. Search query, we set restaurants. Number of results, let's say 100. Submit. And as you can see, magically here on the left, we actually get all the results. We have company name, Google Maps link, description, website, phone, address, rating, reviews. So we have a lot of data we will leverage later to actually create a very sophisticated messaging strategy. Let's rename this so we remember. We will go here later, and this is the first part. So in general, whatever is a local business, start from here because it's extremely powerful, and as you can see, you can get all the information in a couple of clicks. Next, store leads. Okay, let's say that you are a marketing agency, you are working with e-commerces. If you go on LinkedIn and you try to look for e-commerces, you won't find e-commerces. If in the keyword tool you actually search e-commerce, you will find companies selling to e-commerce, because you will get companies like I'm an e-commerce platform, I help e-commerces. If you go to a poll and you put e-commerce, you don't find e-commerce, you find competitors. And even if you find e-commerces, small e-commerces are not even on LinkedIn because again they have zero incentive to be on LinkedIn. They are B2C brands. We have a very specific database, a very specific technology for e-commerces which is called store leads. So again, in the same workbook, add store leads, continue. E-commerce platform, you can put like Shopify. Basically, store leads scrape all the website in the web with the X technology. So in this case, all the website with Shopify inside it. Category, don't use it because it's broken. Number of results results, let's say 100, filters, query, I think is enough. Just put the country, United States, submit. And again, in just a couple of clicks, you actually get the list of all the commerces. And with just some more credits, you actually get all the United States in just one table. As you can see, even here you have a lot of information we will use later to manipulate our data and turn them into message. You have the domain, you have the region, you have the location, you have the platform, which in this case is Shopify, but at the beginning you could even add like more platform. You have the categories like food, apparel, technologies. For example, if they are using like Klaviyo, if they are using Apple Pay, Stripe, and you have a lot of variables. Even the estimated sales, which is not perfect, but actually is a good KPI. I use it many times with clients selling to e-commerces, and it resulted pretty effective. Let's say that you are a consulting company, you are consulting on Salesforce, you are a Salesforce system integrator, and you only look for companies that are already using Salesforce to actually implement better systems, create better processes. So you are forced to work with companies that are implemented Salesforce, or they are willing to actually invest in Salesforce. But think about it, it's impossible to find those companies without one of these enrichment, because you don't know what are the companies with Salesforce right now. There's not a filter on LinkedIn saying, oh, it is using Salesforce. Yeah, maybe you have something on Sales Navigator, but it's really broken, so don't use it. Instead, go on Clay, add, it's called HG Insight, continue. It's pretty expensive, but it's very powerful. Vendor domains, again, you can put like salesforce.com. Then you can put like the product category, because you know, Salesforce has a lot of product like the marketing app, the sales bridge, blockchain tools, blah, blah, blah. So just click in some of them just to make this example. Then go in product. Salesforce can have a different product like Salesforce Cloud, Salesforce Marketing, Salesforce Sales. Salesforce is like an entire word. So click on some of them to actually see what's going on. Max products per company, max companies, revenue. We can create like a range of revenue domains to exclude. Let's do something like this. Let's see if we have like country, allow location. So United States. Submit. And here we are with just a couple of clicks, so we actually get a lot of companies using Salesforce. Your revenue, employee count, company name, company domain, LinkedIn URL. From there we can get later the people, and we can actually understand how to prospect to these companies. But what is very important here is that all these companies are using Salesforce, and they are a perfect fit for your hypothetical Salesforce consulting firm. Next, let's go to LinkedIn. LinkedIn is very powerful because the majority of B2B firms are on LinkedIn, and you just have to search for companies, find companies, select one or more industries, keyword. For example, let's say we want to find marketing agencies, advertising, marketing, 210, 200, location, United States, keyword, agency, 100, preview companies. Continue for free, and let's go, we will get all the agencies. Again, with a lot of data, location, country, domain, LinkedIn URL, we will see in a moment then how to manipulate this data, how to get the people, how to get more information, how to go more in depth, how to extract relevant information. This is LinkedIn, this is where all the B2B companies are, and this is basically where more than 50% of your work on Clay will start. Next, we have a lot of things actually. We can have Google News, you can have HubSpot. If you have a CRM on Clay, you can actually connect the CRM. Then you have RB2B. You can connect RB2B with a webhook. For example, I had a client with a lot of website traffic. I connected RB2B and it was actually pretty easy. Don't get discouraged by this strange work at webhook, because webhook, guys, is just this code. Most of the times you don't have like an official integration, but you have this code, you copy this code, you go into RB2B in this case, and in RB2B you just have like a little block where you just paste the code and will send all the data here. And as you can see with RB2B, you can basically get all the website traffic, because it then anonymizes people in your website if the traffic is US based. So these are people, LinkedIn profile, URLs of actual people that visited the website of my client. Then you have social seniors, other waybooks, Appify. Appify is very interesting because Appify Shopify basically is a marketplace of APIs, because let's say, for example, you want to scrape like TikTok ads, you want to scrape Facebook ads, you want to scrape jobs on Indeed. Not all the times you have all the integration on Clay. Yes, Clay is becoming like very big, and you have like a lot of integrations, but not all of them would be on Clay. So sometimes you won't have like the right one. Just go on Appify and you can actually create an Appify table very fast, and it's pretty easy because it's enough again to add new Appify, import data from Appify actor. The actor would be here. You select your own account, and as you can see, it's just a very simple window where you have to choose your own scraper. For example, I created a scraper for Indeed, Facebook, Google. You find your own scraped list, and that's it. One click, you submit, and you get the list that you got from Appify. So as you can see, guys, no matter where your ICP is, no matter where your market is, you can find a way with Clay to actually get the market inside the table. Just start here, think about where is the place of the internet where my market is, where I can map my TAM, use one or a combination of these enrichments, and you will solve 99% of your go-to-market data problem with just these enrichments. If you have noticed, if you start using Clay, it becomes very expensive very fast. All the actions that we took previously, they are very expensive in terms of Clay credits. Luckily for you, I found some ways to scale all the tables that I mentioned before and 99% of Clay tables without using Clay credits, so you can scale it in a super cheap way. Check out the link in the description because I created this guide for you, which is a guide with all the APIs that I'm using complementary to Clay, so that I can scale basically any kind of table super cheap without consuming credits. And in this way you can become very efficient if you're using Clay for your own sake, both, and if you're actually using Clay to serve a lot of clients where it would become very expensive. Let's move to the more advanced part, which is data enrichment. Using the data that we had previously, enrich them, manipulate them so that we can analyze in the best way possible the companies and all the data that we have, get the people, get personal information such as email, phone number, LinkedIn address, and actually later activate the sales team both in an automated way like with a cold email from Smart Lead, or sending a notification to actually activate manually the sales team. Let's jump into the previous table. For example, let's say that we want to start with the Google Maps table, which was the first one that we created, and let's see how to actually manipulate the data to actually extract all the relevant information that we need, all the information about these companies, all the B2B data like email and phone number out, and auto connect the sending tools to actually communicate, to actually send messages to these companies to hopefully create a meeting and then a sales. We have this data here. We get all the restaurants from Maps, so we don't have a lot of them, but we can work on these. We have the phone number, we have the address, we have the rating. So first of all, I want an email. So other enrichment, and on other enrichment, basically there are three main enrichments that you should use. One is Clayagent, which is a live version of GPT. You can search the web, and for example, if I say something like Clayagent, check on the website and find the email, it will actually perform this at scale. Then we have GPT, which is the normal GPT that I'm 100% sure you know. And then you have formulas. Formulas, it's only if-else logic. There's no intelligence, but it's free and it's very effective. For example, with a formula, we can say only return true if the rating is less than 4. How? This way, we can call it bad rating, because maybe we only want to contact restaurants with bad rating. Engine, formula, use AI, return true if rating is lower than 4.3. Generate formula, output is correct, save formula, and we get all the low rating. And we can even filter only if this is true. And we will get only the one with low rating, because maybe we are selling something to improve rating, whatever it is, like customer experience or software, whatever. Next, the normal GPT that you have. So maybe from address, we want to get only the city, like New York. In this case, it's always New York, but you get the idea. Other enrichment, GPT. This is important. This kind of GPT does not search the web. So you can only manipulate data that you already have inside this company. From address, return the city name only and nothing else. Cool. New York, New York, New York, New York. Perfect. Once it is done, we can scale it, run all the rows through the list. Next, Clayagent. Clayagent, in this case, I guess we need the email. If you want to contact these guys, we actually need the email. We don't have an email here, but I am 100% sure that on the website, at least, we have one email. Add enrichment, agent, visit website, and try to find the official email of this restaurant. Do not guess. If you can't find it, leave blank. We can force the output as an email, so it won't return like bad data. Save, run the rows. Cool, we're already getting some information. By the fact that I don't trust this email, I want to validate this email. Valid email, I usually use LeadMagic. Why? Because if I'm contacting a lot of these emails, especially at scale, and the emails are bouncing, you will damage the reputation of your domain and address. So first, validate the email, thanks me later. I can guarantee you it's worth doing so. Valid status and the email valid, invalid, valid, valid. Next, what we want, maybe we want the name of the owners. This is tricky, I guess, because I don't know if small restaurants always have the name of the owner, but we can give it a try. Add enrichment, again, Clayagent. Who is the owner of this restaurant in address? Just return the name and the surname. Do not guess. Save, run the rows. And we are actually getting all the names. And actually, guys, we can get way much more information. You can understand if they are running ads. You can understand the people working in this restaurant. Maybe this is not the perfect example because they are small businesses, but if you want to get the people, actions, find people at these companies, job title, you can put whatever, preview people, and you will get the list of all the people. These are restaurants, maybe not all the people are listed on LinkedIn, but for example, if we go to another company table such as this, which is the one of the agencies, and we do actions, find people at these companies, job title, let's say owner, partner, and C-suite, review people, you can actually get from just the company names and the company URLs all the name of the people. Import to new table, continue for free, and you get all the people. And again, you can do the same process. Find the email. In this case, the email is the B2B email and can be found using LeadMagic. Find email, find work email. You put as input full name and company domain, add, save, and run the run. So if they are small businesses, I suggest to find the email with Clayagent. If they are more established B2B businesses, just use find people, and from the find people, use LeadMagic, and with LeadMagic actually get the email. Same for phone number. You actually have a waterfall of a phone number, or you can just use Forger, which is extremely accurate. And we can even get the phone number of all these decision makers, who are decision makers in marketing agencies such as these, with these job titles like CEO, founder, partner, co-founder, partner, global chief growth officer. So very high level people you can contact with phone and actually try to get a meeting. Save and run the rows. As you can see, it's very effective. It will use a combination of different phone providers to actually get the phone. As you can see, it can reach all the phone. This is not working, move to the next. If the mobile is not found, it will move to the next. And at the end, you get all the phone numbers. Data enrichment. Okay, we got the data. For example, from LinkedIn, we enriched our data. And the next, what you actually need is to activate the sales team. How can we activate the sales team? It depends from channel to channel. So first of all, I would say there are two levels of activation. One is I send a notification like, hey, Mr. Account Executive, please reach out to this guy because it changed the job, and it will reach out manually. Or we can actually fully automate the process. With LinkedIn, I suggest to use HeyReach. With email, I suggest to use SmartLead. With phone, Nukes. And to activate the sales team, like a notification on Slack is usually the most effective. How can we connect the data on Clay to these providers? Easy. Add enrichment, HeyReach, add lead to campaign. We have to create a campaign on HeyReach, which is pretty easy. First name, last name, LinkedIn profile, save and run. And basically Clay will move all the data from Clay to HeyReach. HeyReach is basically a LinkedIn automation platform. We can do the same with SmartLead, add lead to campaign, campaign ID. You select your campaign ID, and you can even move all the personalization variables. For example, let's say that with Clayagent, we actually scraped what are the case studies of these marketing agencies. We can actually add on SmartLead what are these case studies. So in the copy, we can actually say something like, hey, Greg, I noticed that you're working with this and this company. You are such a cool marketing agency. This is my value proposition. This is the call to action. With Slack is the same. It's pretty easy. Add enrichment, Slack, send message. You just create a dedicated Slack channel where the account executive is present, and you can send all this data to the Slack channel so you can activate the sales team. And guys, as you can see in this way, from data scraping, data enrichment, data activation, this is how you can actually use Clay from beginner to more intermediate. Let's move on to the most advanced tactics, putting together what we have learned and actually plugging the more advanced playbook, the one that I'm using to consult huge companies and the fastest growing companies in the world to actually supercharge growth and actually have an incredible impact on revenue. As you can see, Clay is not actually an outbound tool. A lot of people think it is an outbound tool, but actually it's a go-to-market tool that is really dangerous, especially when you're working with bigger companies, because at scale, you can actually leverage Clay for so many different things, for HR processes, inbound processes, outbound processes, CRM projects, anything that is related to revenue operations or data about sales, marketing, and people in general can be incredibly effective. So let's go to my more advanced playbooks, which are these, and these is really like the secret sauce I'm using with one of the fastest growing businesses in the world. And as you can see, I can really leverage Clay and plug and play it in very specific processes to actually create a super incredible impact in a business. These playbooks are inbound led outbound, inbound, news led outbound, social signals, CRM, partnerships, etc, etc. I want just to give you an understanding of this. For example, let's go to the inbound playbook. Inbound actually funny because the bigger a company gets and the more outbound it gets and the dumber it gets about managing inbound. For example, let's say that you have a demo button, subscribe here. Actually, in the demo button, you have like 10 fields because when a company gets bigger, you have to add friction. Otherwise, very random people will book and will waste the time of the account executives. But you will even add friction to the people that are ICP. So what I suggest is create a demo form with just one question, the email. From the email, Clay can actually move it into a table with the webhook we have seen in the first section, and we can understand at scale if it is ICP and reaching the lead as in the second section, the intermediate one, understanding the revenue, job title, geography. If lead is the ICP, actually finding all the relevant information and activating the sales team both in an automated way or with just a Slack notification, sending a notification to the sales team. And in this way, basically, we are solving three big things. First is you will get more leads for your own inbound. Secondly, immediate speed to lead, because when you actually fill a form, most of the time you will have to wait a lot of time. And there's a research of HubSpot that says that if you reply to a lead in the first hour or in the first 10 minutes, you actually increase by 7x the probability to actually having a sales conversation. So after someone actually requests the information, we can automate emails and LinkedIn with Clay so that you have immediate speed to lead, send notification to call immediately, and in this way we can actually skyrocket sales, creating a better inbound process, more leads, immediate speed to lead, and only routing super high-level leads to the sales team without wasting his time. Again, this is just an example. I have inbound-led outbound, I have news-led outbound, I have product-led growth, I have the TAM process, lead magnet process, and I just want to end this video showing you how I'm leveraging this for myself, for my own go-to-market, because as you probably know, I have a pretty popular newsletter, and sometimes I get like very high-level people in my newsletter. I got readers from OpenAI, I got readers from Microsoft, from Google, from any kind of famous company, and I'm not joking. Those people are literally reading my newsletter, and those people are so high level and so important to me that I want to reach out directly. If someone from OpenAI subscribe, I want to call him, or at least I want to send him a LinkedIn message saying something like, thanks for reading my newsletter, this is more proof, this is another lead magnet, maybe we can have a call, because for me it can be worth a lot of money. So this is my process. Basically, from LinkedIn and Meta, I'm getting subscriber to my newsletter. This is my website, clayoperator.com. When someone subscribe, it will go into a list into get response, but I can't understand if it is from a big company, a small company, high-level decision maker, not a decision maker, but with Clay I can, because I created an automation that when I get a new subscriber in get response, the lead will be moved into Clay, and Clay will analyze if this is a person from United States, if he's working in a big company, and if he is a high-level decision maker. If he is, actually, I will send directly an email or a LinkedIn message, hey, thanks for much for reading, providing this is more information. So in this way, guys, as you can see, I'm still generating my newsletter, but with Clay I can identify high-level subscribers so that I can reach out manually and prioritize my actions so that I can be very, very effective. As you can see, Clay is an insanely useful tool for any kind of B2B company out there, and learning Clay, becoming a go-to-market engineer, is the fastest growing B2B skill in the world. I personally know that because I was able to make $53,000 of net profit, of net income for myself using this skill, still living the life that I want. So click here to see how I'm using Clay and how I'm leveraging in a consulting business to make so much money in a month that most people don't make in a year. In that video, I will show you all my story with Outbound, sales automation, how I got into Clay, how I created my consulting business, and how I'm monetizing my consulting business. So if that is interesting to you, thanks and see you in the next one.